What is up, everybody? Renfail here. Welcome aboard. We are diving into my top 5 tips for new players in Diablo 4. Now, there's a lot of tip guides and videos out there which give you a ton of information like you gotta get your mount, go fast, hurry, 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 fastest way to level, fastest way to get coin, fastest this, that, or the other. My guide is not about that. My guide is about how to get the most out of your build and how to sort of enjoy yourself the most in a slow burn type journey. If you want to immerse yourself into the game and really dive into everything that Sanctuary has to offer and what Diablo 4 is about, that's what this is for. So if that sounds good to you and you like this video as we go along, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update or a live stream. Without further ado, let's get into the guide and talk about some of the things you need to know to get the most out of Diablo 4. Alright, so first up, and probably the most important tip I can give anybody, and it's something I didn't find out until I'd already been playing the game for around 30 hours, is the fact that you can set waypoints, and those waypoints give you a clear line to follow so that way you don't get lost. So if you open up the map, this is a huge map, and as you can see, I haven't cleared all of it yet. I'm still very much in the beginner's stage because I, like many of you, am somewhat of a newbie to Diablo 4, but I am about 35 hours into the game so far. I'm level 36 and I am running along, and it's funny because I really was like, upset with myself that I didn't figure this out early on, but I didn't read any guides or anything online. I just jumped in and started playing. So what I was doing earlier is if I had a waypoint to like this quest right here, I would track it, right? Now, if I shut down the map, I very much can see over there to the northeast somewhere is the place I need to go. And so what I had done through the earliest stages of the game was just run in that direction. And if I found a path that made me go north, I would go up north, and then I would drop down and go south and so on and so forth until I found my way there. But it was very much a meandering route, which took me through a lot of different places, and I was going up and down and jumping across things and etc., and just constantly getting lost, which is not a bad thing. However, there is a better way to do it if you're wanting to make a beeline for something, and that is to open up the map, go over to the thing you're trying to find, and down on the bottom of the map you'll see something where it says pin location. Now if I pin location, you're going to notice that a red line pops up right there. You see that red line? So now that red line shows me how to get to that. And it shows me even if, like this big area here, even if it's an area I haven't explored yet, it will still show me how to get there. So let's see if I can find another one. I might not be able to. Okay, here's a good one. Good example. I'm going to click on that. You'll notice that the line disappears in the area that I haven't explored yet. And that's because I haven't actually unlocked this section of the map yet in terms of the fog of war because I haven't been there yet. But my red line leads me up to that point and continues going underneath that fog of war. So it's a great tool to help you get around in the world without getting lost if you're trying to find a way to get to something, especially considering like as you get deeper into the game, before you get your mount, you're going to find some stuff. Like I remember when I had to come down here to Tarsarak, like I didn't have anything close to there. So I had to run all the way. As you can see the route that I followed to get there. I came down through here, down through here, down through here, and up and through here. And I did that by following this red line. So if I were to put that over here, boom. Now it has a different route for me because I'm in a different location right now. It's actually showing me from here. It's wanting me to go up through here and around somehow in that direction. But highly recommend that you use the pen location to help you find your way around the map, because you will get this red line that shows you where to go, which makes navigation much easier than if you were to simply follow waypoints like I was doing and just going through the map. Next up is the items you get, which are the dropped gear that you find along the way and get from quests and stuff. And this is open for debate. I know some people prefer to sell things to get coin. I don't think it's actually worthwhile. I think you should be deconning everything you come across and save those crafting mats, because they're going to be useful when you want to craft gear once you get to the cap. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing any crafting gear, this is personal preference, during the earliest stages of the game, because even up until where I'm at right now, level 35, I'm getting a level fairly quickly. In the earliest stages of the game, you're getting multiple levels, every hour. You're getting 3, 4, 5 levels. So it doesn't make any sense to craft legendary gear at those levels because you're going to burn through it so quickly. However, you're going to need tons and tons and tons of crafting mats if you actually want to make gear later on in the game. And the only way to do that is by having materials. Now, some of the materials can be found as drops in the game world, like ore and hides. But you can also get mats by coming over here to the blacksmith and choosing to salvage items. So you can salvage by quality. But what's very interesting is that you cannot do orange items, which are the legendary items. As far as I'm aware, maybe there's something later on in the game that you can't, but based on my gameplay so far, if I were to put this into my inventory, let's go ahead and drop that in here. Put it in my inventory. Hang on, I need to unequip this as well. So you notice I have this orange item down here in my inventory now, the Bone Weave Gauntlets of Arrow Storms, which are a pretty awesome pair of gauntlets, by the way. The orange ones won't decon. Also, anything that has a gem in it, you'll need to remove the gem before you can deconstruct it. Otherwise, you can't. But it's as simple as coming here, choosing the blacksmith, and I just always tell him, click all items, and boom, he's going to say, this action will irreversibly destroy all normal, magic, and rare items in your inventory. Are you sure you want to do this? Heck yeah, I want to do this, because I want all the mats possible. So that unlocks some transmogs for me. It also gave me some crafting mats, as it shows you on the bottom left there, the savage materials that I got. But it doesn't do the legendaries. So that's really cool because you're never going to accidentally destroy a legendary, and you're never going to accidentally destroy something that has a gem on it. You'll first need to go to the jeweler person and strip the gems out of it to be able to sell that. But I would highly recommend that you just constantly, rather than selling things and stashing gold, just deconstruct everything for crafting mats. Now, gold is important, and it will be important later on because things get very costly when you're talking about crafting, especially towards legendary crafting. But I feel like the progression is so quick up until the point where I don't really think you're going to need to be worrying about legendary gear until you get to 50 and you want to go from tier 2 to tier 3, which is the major, finishing that first capstone dungeon. I feel like that, in my personal opinion, is sort of the delineation mark of when you should be worrying about crafting gear. So up until you get to level 50, just deconstruct everything and save those mats for when you're really gonna need them. Now, next up is going to be something that I really wish they had told me at the beginning of the game. I really wish there was a tutorial about this, but there's not. So if you look down here at the bottom right of my character panel, you're going to notice 3 types of currency. You're going to have the coins, the red shards, and then Obols, which are the purple medallion looking things down there. Right now I have 35 of them. Now, the way you get Obols is by completing world events, and you'll find caches and so on and so forth throughout the game. Now, I had no idea what those things were used for because there's no tutorial on it, right? So I just was going along, completing events and racking up those points, those coins, but eventually there's a cap. And that cap, when you start off, is 500, and I didn't know that. And so I was out there completing events, and I kept getting told, you've maxed out, you've maxed out, you've maxed out. And I finally went online and was like, what are these Obols used for? And I finally found out what they were used for, and I was like, oh, I feel really stupid for not having spent those, because I did a ton of events where I could have been earning more. And we'll get to in a minute what those are used for. But the big thing is to know that you have a cap. The cap is 500 to start off with. You can increase that cap by finding like altars of Lilith and some other stuff through game progression. So definitely pay attention to that if that's something that you're going to be working towards. But the big thing to remember is that those things, the Obols, there is a cap of 500, and you find those through world events. So if you find yourself getting to the cap, you're going to want to go spend those, which directly leads into the next tip, which is where do you spend those and what should I spend those on at the merchants. We're going to open up the map here, and what you're looking for is a purveyor of curiosities. So we're going to get a waypoint to that using the waypoint system that we talked about earlier in the game. Early in the video, I should say. And we're going to go down here to the purveyor of curiosities, and we're going to open her up as a merchant, and we're going to say, what do you have for me? And you're going to notice that the purveyor of curiosities trades those obols for items. Now they're unidentified items, and they have different minimum levels depending on your level, and they have different costs associated with them. Excuse me. And these are kind of like it's an RNG system essentially. So you're going to get a random sword, a random dagger, random bow, crossbow, cap, tunic, etc. So you could definitely spend your points on those. However, I would urge you not to do that. I would instead urge you to go down here and buy these whispering keys. I did not know this for the first like 25 levels of the game, and I kept coming across these silent chests in the game, and it told me you need a whispering key to open up this chest, but there was never a tutorial anyway that told me what's a whispering key, how do I get it. It didn't. There's no explanation of any of that stuff through the tutorial system that I've seen anyway. So I want to help you avoid that. So remember, cap on the obols, that's one thing. Where do you spend them? You spend them at these purveyors of curiosities, and I highly recommend that you just buy a bunch of whispering keys during the earliest stages of the game, because you're going to come across those chests and they have lots of cool items within them. Sometimes they have legendaries, but you need a key to unlock them. So this is what you can use your points on. Matter of fact, while I'm here, I'm going to buy 5 of these for 20. And I've just spent 20, and now I only have 15 points left, which is fine. And now we can go away from that, and if we come across a whispering chest, I'll be able to use, or a silent chest, excuse me, I'll be able to use one of those whispering keys on it. So huge tip in my mind. Those two go together, number 3 and number 4. What's up, everybody? Commercial break here. I got to give a shout out to our guild champions. It's the highest tier membership here on YouTube. We got Ancient Entity, Crazy as Relative, and Remy D. Thanks so much for your support. And of course, to all of the members here on YouTube, thanks for keeping me on the air full time. If you do like what you see and hear on my channel, don't forget to not only like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, but please support. Consider me your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus, or HBO, whatever you want to call it. You can do memberships here on the channel starting at $3 a month. And of course, anytime you see me live or you watch a premiere, you can do super chats and stickers on those videos, and super thanks on any upload you see, which allows me to keep doing this full time and paying the bills. So from Chris and I and all of our rescue cats, we say thank you. Let's get back to the video at hand. The next tip is actually in the gameplay options, and this is somewhat of a more advanced tip, but there's 2 options here that I want to talk about. Show all tutorials, excuse me, not show all tutorials, I'm looking at the wrong one. Advanced tooltip compare and advanced tooltip information. Now I'm going to turn these 2 off for the moment just so that you can see what it looks like without those, but this is essentially all about what shows up when you do an item inspect. So right now this is the default, and I can compare by hitting the Y button, and it's going to show me the difference between the one I've got in my inventory and the one I've got equipped. And this basic manner of showing me the difference is something where I kind of have to manually look at things and see what's it look like, what's the differences. However, if you go in here and turn this option on in the game options and go to gameplay, scroll down and turn on advanced tooltip compared. This says when comparing item tooltips, it'll show you properties gained, lost, and changes to equipped skills will be displayed. And if it's disabled, it will only show the primary stat. So then we also want the tooltip information, which is going to show us things like lucky hit chance on skills and so on and so forth, whether the modifications are additive or multiplicative. So we're going to turn those 2 things on. We're going to click Save Changes, and now we're going to go back to the game. We're going to open up the inventory, and now when we do a comparison, you can see a ton of more information is available to us in terms of, oh, this is plus 13% here and minus 2% here, and properties lost when equipped, and properties gained when equipped. Hang on, let me go back to the equipment page. So on and so forth. This is a huge thing when you're getting items, especially as you get deeper into the game and you're starting to get like legendary items which have like gem slots and other things. Which, by the way, I don't have anything slotted right now because I just got a bunch of gear when I was playing today, and I haven't gone back to my bank yet and taken care of the gems that I have in the bank and converted them into things that I want to slot. But the big thing is just understanding that there's a ton of information in terms of comparing gear, but if those options are off, which they are by default, you'll want to turn them on so that you can get the most information possible to help you get the best gear choices when you're leveling up your character. It really does help a lot to have that turned on. Anyway, folks, that is my top 5 tips for new players guide here for Diablo 4. If you found it useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Follow along, join our Discord, maybe even join us in-game. We are the Raven Syndicate if you want to join our clan. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Until then, stay safe and happy gaming in Sanctuary, everybody.